This for the football. For the city in the back row. Got a whole county full of them goats. All from the football. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah. So let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva. Them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmetto Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcon. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football. This for the football.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome here. It is football season again here in Ashtabula County, which means one thing. We are home, at my home away from home, here at the Crow's Nest here in Ashtabula, Ohio. It is time for Ashtabula's #1 high school football show. I'm very, very excited to be back here, among great people in a great environment to celebrate these athletes right here from our area. Tonight we've got a preview show. We don't have a player of the week because nobody's played football that counts at least yet. We'll have those games starting here on Friday. Actually, high school football is going to be starting here in Northeast Ohio on Thursday, but with the county games starting on Friday, we're going to do a preview of all 8 Ashtabula County teams on tonight's show. Before we get to the preview here soon, we're going to sit down with RJ Detour. He's going to sit down with us and talk a little bit about the journey that it has been for the Crow's Nest this year. It was, for those of you who don't know or haven't been able to follow the news, an issue with the building and a very unfortunate accident that resulted in the Crow's Nest being out of commission for a while, but Ashtabula stood together and we came together to bring the Crow's Nest right back to where they belong, and that's providing excellent service right here in Ashtabula. And the man, the myth, the legend is ready to go right here. It's RJ Detour. He's going to join us tonight. RJ.
What's up, Sam?
How is it going? How does it feel to be back up and running?
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's been busy since the day we reopened, and we couldn't be happier.
I mean, this is really, a cornerstone of Ashtabula, has been for as long as I've been alive. So to see the community come together the way that it did and get the Crow's Nest back up and running, what was that like for you as an owner and, somebody who literally has been part of the Crow's Nest since you were born?
Yeah, you talk about that. I tell people the school bus used to drop me off here, so I literally grew up in this place. But it was terrifying when we were closed for a while. We didn't know what to expect. We had no idea the community was going to do what they did for us. We didn't realize that we meant that much to people, or people cared that much about us. And it was incredible, man. It really was. And we put in a lot of hard work, a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, and we worked around the clock to get this place back up and running. It's really, after talking to other people that have had something similar like this happen, it's really remarkable that we got this place up and running as fast as we did.
Yeah, and one of the things that people talk about is a third space. They talk about home, they talk about work, and they talk about that third space where they can go and unwind and feel like it's a home away from home. And I don't think you guys realized that you are the third space for so many people.
Really, I know a lot of people, when we reopened, a lot of people just said, like we feel like we're home again. Like, we didn't know what to do when you guys weren't open. And it's coming from, like, an owner's standpoint, like, that's really hard to believe. It really is really hard to believe.
Yeah, I think it's a tragedy that obviously caused all of that, but it was probably a nice eye-opener, as this is a place, like you said, you got dropped off here from the school bus, and it becomes part of your everyday. But you guys really mean so much to this community, and you guys don't just mean enough to the community because of the food and the atmosphere. It's because you guys have always been involved. For as long as I can remember, you guys have always been involved in the community, whether it's sponsoring a softball team or, sponsoring here, sponsoring there. The Crow's Nest is kind of everywhere. Why does it mean so much to you guys to give back?
Well, that's more of I inherited those traits, okay, from my dad and my uncle. They have always just been there for people. They've gone above and beyond to do what they can to help anybody in any way that they can. And being raised that way, you kind of inherit those traits as well. And it's I believe that is exactly what made the community do what they did for us. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
It really was. I know myself. When I saw everything that happened, my heart drops to the floor. This is a place that has become so important to me, and I'm not even talking about just the show. It's wonderful that I get to come here and talk about these athletes every week, but this is a place that I like to bring my family. The Ohio State game. You'll never watch a better Ohio State game than what you're going to watch here. It's great. I mean, down to the staff, and you guys take such pride in having your staff be excellent and second to none, and it's just a great place. And talk about some of the things that you guys got a chance to improve on and do since everything came up.
Yeah, I will. First of all, I want to say that we really do enjoy having the Player of the Week come down here. It's really a cool thing. They bring their teammates, they bring their family, and it. You guys, we give them a sweatshirt that says Player of the Week, and I think that's something that these kids will remember for the rest of their life. I know I remember stuff like that back from when I was in high school. Like, it really does make a difference. But as far as getting this place back open and remodeling, there's not a thing. Floor to ceiling, it's all brand new.
It is.
It's. I mean, you talk air conditioners, heaters, walls, ceilings, floors. It's all brand new, and it was all. Everybody that worked in this place is customers of ours. They're all friends of ours. When you're in this business this long, people that are in every trade, and they pushed everything aside, dropped what they were doing, and came down here, tended to our needs, and got this place. I mean, just if you haven't been here, you got to come check it out.
It's absolutely beautiful. I know as soon as they got opened, the soft open day, I ordered takeout because I was working really late that day. I couldn't wait to get my hands on the peppers because that's my go-to when I come here. And nothing, the food has not missed a step, but it is absolutely beautiful in here. The walls, the ceilings, everything. It's this polished look for this place that is just so amazing.
It feels homey, doesn't it?
It really, really does. I mean, I hadn't been back here because I spend most of my time on the other side. But, I finally got a chance to come back here. And when I walked in here to get set up today, I was just kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's comfortable.
It's
comfortable.
It's like going to, somebody's house with the best dining room.
And some pretty good food,
and
too.
some really, really good food. I can tell you, folks, if you haven't been to the Crow's Nest, for all the folks watching down in Trumbull and Mahoning and the surrounding categories, this is the easiest restaurant to find. You get on Route 11 and you drive until you stop. And this is the place right here. You're going to get good food, great people. But, let's talk a little football. RJ, you yourself, a graduate of St. John and, a pretty good football player in your own right. What is it like seeing this Herald program kind of build back up and making a playoff run last year? And
St. John, they have done an absolute incredible job. When I was in high school, actually, let me back up. When I was in 8th grade, St. John didn't have a football team. They didn't have enough kids on the football team. And when I played, we had, in practice, we would get coaches and friends of coaches just so that we could get enough people to practice. And the way that they have built this program up from youth all the way through high school, I mean, it is really amazing to see. It's incredible. They have done such a tremendous job. The people, the volunteers that put in the work, spent their time, spent their money, doing what they can to get those kids, get going into football. And it's, yeah, I mean, talk about in a span of 20, 25 years, a school that did not have a team to, yeah, you said, make the playoffs. But not only that, they have, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's like
youth,
26 guys out on the team this year.
And they have a tremendous youth program. They have a junior high program. They have, I mean, it's incredible. It really.
Yeah, and I think the youth program is one of the more exciting parts of it because, one of the things when I first started doing this and my daughter's being St. John, from kindergarten on, I watched the ups and downs. I watched, the 8-man year and the year that followed where they weren't sure that they'd have football. And to see these kids start, 8, 9 years old and wearing that Herald blue, you know what I mean? I didn't graduate from St. John. I was a Lakeside guy, but I learned what that meant, through being a parent and that sort of thing.
It's family, man. It really is family. And it shows. It shows. Like I said, the people just donate their time. They do what they can. They purchase equipment if it's need purchased. They cut grass if it's need cut. They chalk lines if they need chalk. I mean, they're out there. They're doing out of the goodness of their own heart, and it has made such a difference.
It has, and you see that, like you said, it's not just about making the playoffs. It's about getting out there, and these guys, this year they've got 10 seniors on the team. Last year they had 10 seniors on the team. So
it's funny you say that. I remember our senior team picture. There was 4 of us. It's grown. I mean, it's growing.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to Bob Delgosh about that and how, a 20-man turnover for some years for St. John would have been the program stops. And here they are rebuilding, and it's very cool. I'm always curious for the alumni to see how they're feeling about seeing a team that's just ready to go every year.
Yeah, and, obviously we're busy down here, but I definitely make it out to at least see, 1 or 2 games a year to see what's going on. And like you said, the program has made a big turnaround. And it's exciting to watch.
It is. It's very fun, and I had the honor and the privilege of kind of watching it build and where it's at, and I can't give and it's because of alumni like you, and it's because of the guys and the ladies that are staying around Ashtabula, and they care enough to, like you said, do some chalk lines or help with equipment here, cut some grass and stuff like that. It's that community flavor.
And they bring the team down here for pasta meals, Wednesday of game week, or whatever it is, and it's such a close knit community, such a close knit. They're, like I said earlier, man. They're like family.
One of my favorite things about doing this show, and honestly, the biggest reason I started doing all this, 7, 8 years ago, was because of the late great Joe Pete and how great he made these young athletes feel and that sort of thing. But one of my biggest, warming moments is when we have a player of the week on here and they pack the house.
Oh, yeah. It is. This whole back room fills up with them.
It really is. It's the coolest thing, not just for the athlete, but to get everybody in here. And it's just, this is a place that I hold a giant point of pride. And any of the Youngstown guys will tell you that I'll put my Ashtabula folks up against anybody, anywhere,
Without
anytime.
a doubt.
It's just great. But listen, I wanted to take a moment, get you on here and talk to you about it and say thank you so much because you guys are just the very best hosts. I want to thank Dan Sposito and Sposito Insurance for sponsoring the show again. And I can't wait for a full season of football to fill this place up and give anybody, if they haven't had a taste of the Crow's Nest, you're really, really missing out.
Bring your families with you,
Yeah, it is. This is a place I love to bring my family. The menu is big. Everything is good. The pickiest eater in the world has a good time here at Crow's Nest because you're going to find something that you like right here. RJ, thanks so much for taking some time with me, and I'm looking forward to the season.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks so much.
You got it.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Clint.
Hi, this is Steve Versetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience, WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
Or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats.
Go Dogs.
Go Tigers.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
All right, everybody, we're back. Sorry, a couple technical difficulties there. Couldn't get to my commercials just yet. I'm still. It's been a while. But we'll get things back together. I promise you, by the end of the season, we'll be about 50% on this. But just getting done with an interview with RJ Detour. One of the owner of here at the Crow's Nest, who has so graciously hosted us again this year for the third year running. We're doing this show here, and I absolutely love it. This is a place here in Ashtabula that means a lot to a lot of people. As we talked about the tragedy that took them out of business, there for just about 60 days is how long it took them to get back on their feet, get the bricks put back up, and really just a beautiful job they've done of revamping and redoing the living or the dining room here in this area and the bar area as well. Didn't get a chance to get my good man Ronnie Detour. He was here and then we missed him. I wanted to get him on, but we're going to get him on before the end of the year. Ronnie Detour, the owner here at Crow's Nest, and I can't thank the Detour family enough, whether it's Ronnie, RJ, or Nick, for hosting us, putting together the sweaters that we give out every week for the Player of the Week. This is something that has been a passion project for me, something I've wanted to start up, as I was talking to RJ about, growing up in my high school days, getting to see guys on the sports report like Joe Pete, the great Joe Pete, and how those Bone Crusher Award of the Weeks and the hoodies and how much that stuff meant to the actual community. And that's why when I got a chance to do something in a similar vein, I jumped on it. And I couldn't do it without people like the Detour family, without people like Dan Sposito and Sposito Insurance taking over for the sponsorship role and making this show a possibility. So, for those people who are helping our community and helping me help our community, make sure you guys go check them out. For all your insurance needs, go check out Dan Sposito right here in Ashtabula. If you're hungry or you're just looking for a great place to take in a game or see a kind face, come down here to the Crow's Nest. They've got excellent staff. Everybody's going to meet you with a smile on their face and take care of you like you're one of their own, because everybody, when you walk through this door, is one of their own. It's a family environment. I said with RJ when he was on, I love to bring my family here. The food is excellent. The service is even better. We're going to get into some of the preview work this week. We're not going to pick games. I'm going to save that. For Thursday, the zone coverage show. But tonight we are going to go through schedules. We're going to talk about some players that you should be keeping your eye on. And another year that we're bringing in, and I'm so proud to say this, all 8 Ashtabula County schools are going to have one home. Your home for high school football, your home for Ashtabula County High School sports is right here on ysnlive.com, something that I think matters a lot to me and matters a lot to the community. All right, let's get things started as we'll go into our previews. And we're going to start off with the St. John Heralds as R.J. Detour, who was just on the show and did the interview with us, was a heck of a football player for this St. John team. Not too many years ago. They'll overshoot it and say it was ancient, but it definitely wasn't. He's a guy that I can remember for sure. But you look at this St. John Heralds team, 5-5 their record last year, making the playoffs before eventually losing to a very, very talented team in Malvern, going down there. But what an experience for those young men to go out there. And let me tell you, they're going to start off their schedule this year hot with a away game, but it's going to have a home game feel, going just across the bridge to play the Edgewood Warriors. This is a team that is absolutely loaded with talent in the Edgewood Warriors. And when we go to their preview, we're going to talk about a couple of the guys that you can watch from their side. But right now we're going to focus on the St. John Heralds. So week 1, heading on the road, they're going to be playing the Edgewood Warriors. Week 2, they're going to be at home against their bitter rival, no longer a conference rival, but still a rival nonetheless, in the Fairport Harbor Skippers. That is a game you're not going to want to miss. It is going to be high-octane action from pillar to post. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's going to be right here on YSN Live with yours truly on the call. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this year's football season. Our great leader, DJ Yoakley, will tell you I never stop talking about high school football. Sometimes he has to tell me, calm down. We've got a couple months yet, but I'm so pumped up for it. They'll follow the Fairport game up with another home game against Jackson Milton, another YSN school coming up here to Ashtabula. And then they're going to be on the road taking on Crestline. This is a Friday night game at Crestline. Crestline about 2.5 hours away from us here in Ashtabula. We'll be getting on the bus and heading down there. I'll be covering that game too. Can't wait. And then it's a conference rival in the Pymatuning Valley Lakers. This is a game that, it's not a secret that the PV Lakers have represented excellence in football for the last decade. The old adage, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, it starts right here with the Pymatuning Valley Lakers. That's one of those games that's going to be a big one for them. Then they'll be at home again the following week against the Grand Valley Mustangs. What a classic that game was last year. 28-25 was the final score. Herald's coming out on top. And a late addition to the schedule in Richmond Heights. That's a game that got added to the schedule as late as last week, as they had an opening due to one of the NAC teams going to 8-man this year, which left a hole in the schedule. But a great job by new athletic director Alex Izzy. I want to send a huge shout out and congratulations to him on his new position. I'm looking forward to working with him hand in hand as he becomes a new athletic director here at St. John High School. He is a graduate as well. So, the Herald Blue taking care of each other. You love to see it. The following week, they're going to be on the road against Matthews, following with another road game, heading all the way down to the bottom of the map to Latonia. Latonia, another YSN school. And finally, ending the year at home against Cardinal. That could be their homecoming game. So a great schedule for the Heralds this year. When you talk about key games for them this year, obviously it's going to be the Fairport game. That's a big rivalry game. Excuse me. Big rivalry game for the Heralds. Heading on the road, I've got that Friday 9-11 game against Crestline as a key game for them because what we're going to see is how are they going to deal with that travel. It's a long day. It's a Friday, so they're going to be in school before they head all the way across the state to play Crestline. This was a game that they lost by just one touchdown last year. It was airtight from beginning to end. I'll be interested to see how can they keep that energy. Can they get over that hump, get that big road win against Crestline this year? And then that follows into 9/26 where they're going to play the Grand Valley Mustangs. And I have this one as a key game for one reason and one reason only. Not only is it a big conference game, but this is a game that came down to the final play of the game last year. The Heralds were able to come out on top, and that is something that over in Grand Valley Nation that they have kept going, kept in the back of their mind for a solid year. So who's coming into this game with more? Who's going to be more ready? We're going to talk about some of the horses that Grand Valley has this year here in just a bit. But let's talk about the 440 Sports Show 4 to watch for the St. John Heralds. We're going to start it off. This one, I think, surprises absolutely nobody. Chase Newsome, the running back, defensive back combination. He's a senior this year, 1,000-yard rusher for the St. John Heralds last year. He is a huge, momentous part of their offense. They're going to need excellent play from him on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to need excellent play from him on the defensive side of the ball. He is a senior. He's looking into that leadership role. This is a young man who really made a name for himself last year. I'm very, very excited to see where this goes this year. Second is going to be Carlo Fasano. It's the junior, the very, very talented junior defensive end for the St. John Heralds. Coming in this year, they're going to need big play from him, and he knows that. He's going to have a year just like last year with multiple sacks. He's going to have to be the guy that the offensive coordinator is trying to scheme away if the Heralds are going to find success this year. Next on the list, it's Gus Petros. Gus Petros is one of the most underrated athletes on this roster. This is a young man who is going to be able to make it happen as a wide receiver. He's also going to make it happen on the defensive side of the ball, on the shutdown corner side. You're going to see Gus Petros oftentimes lined up against the best wide receiver that they're going up against that week because they trust him that much. And then it's Anthony Benedict, Benny, the quarterback for the Heralds. Coming back this year, his second year as a Herald starting quarterback. This is a young man who did so much work in the offseason, spending time at camps and worrying and trying to get all the little nuts and bolts tightened so he can come in to this senior season and make it happen. If Benny can get it done in the backfield as the quarterback, this St. John team is going to be dangerous. It is going to be fun to watch, and I can't wait to see how this season is going to unfold. Like I said, thank you so much. As I'm just seeing the comments now, I appreciate you. My man, Rob Johnson, I will be there very soon with him on Thursday for zone coverage. But this is a Heralds team with a lot of talent. They're going to have to play together. About 26, 27 guys on the roster this year. And the 4 I'm talking about, there's a lot more guys you're going to have to watch. These are just the 4 I'm giving you. So the St. John Heralds, that's their preview for this year. I'm looking forward to calling the games for them this year. It's going to be an absolutely fun year. They've got a lot of competitive games ahead of them, a full 10-game schedule. It's going to be a fun year to be a Heralds fan. And you don't have to go very far, folks, because if they're playing football, it's going to be right here on YSN Live. So we move on from the Heralds next. Pull it up on here to the Conneaut Spartans. The Conneaut Spartans, this is the team that I cannot tell you enough how big an upside that they have. Skill position-wise, the Conneaut Spartans are one of the best in the county. Their wide receiving core is absolutely stocked with talent. Now, they graduated quite a few guys from the offensive line last year, so they're looking for some help. They're looking for some guys to step up, and one of those guys that I think is going to be stepping up this year is on that 4404 to watch, in Mason Priatley. This kid, he showed up to the combine. He was impressive. He was strong. He was fast. And more importantly than anything, the young man was focused. He understands the role that he's going to have to play this year for this Conneaut team to be successful. Brady Vera comes in this year as a senior. There's no better way to put it. He's huge. This young man is big. He is fast. He is aggressive. As a wide receiver, he is going to be just as dangerous catching a pass as he is knocking guys over on a block. This is a guy who's going to make a big difference in their offense and open up lanes for guys like Isaiah Bowles, the running back linebacker combo. He played a huge part in their offense last year. I think that's going to be the case again this year. Look for Isaiah Bowles trying to break some records. This man is hyper-focused. He is ready to play football, and I cannot wait to see how this Conneaut Spartans team is going to go out there. And then there's Devontae Harris, the big threat. He is a long-armed kid who can pull in the passes. So, deep threat-wise, this Conneaut team is going to be a deep threat all year long. They've got big guys who can go downfield and make it happen. There are some other guys on here, I don't want to give out too much, that are going to be able to kill you underneath. One guy in particular that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on and almost made the 4.404 to watch, but I went with the upperclassman, and that's Luis Cedeno. So you talk about 3 big-name wide receivers out there. It's going to be Dobrin taking the snaps for the Spartans this year. He's going to have a lot of options. Sometimes it can be too much of a good thing. It's going to be, can he keep his composure? Can he get it to the right man at the right time? With guys like Mesa Priatley in front of him, giving him time to throw the ball. They've got Coach Rocco Dobrin behind, calling the plays for them again this year. He is a staple in Conneaut. I cannot say enough good things about this man. Every year, every iteration of Conneaut Spartan football, he is making the most of it and bringing out the best in these kids. It's going to be fun to be a Conneaut fan this year, I can tell you that much. Let's go through some of their schedule this year. They start off the year with Cuyahoga Heights, who is an annual playoff contender. Cuyahoga Heights, this was an airtight game last year. Unfortunately, Conneaut falls just short in that one, losing that one 27-24. That's another one that sticks in the back of their mind. They knew how close they were to beating an annual playoff contender. They'll be heading to Cuyahoga Heights to play them, followed by Jefferson. That's going to be a little bit of that county game in this newly aligned CVC. They'll host the Jefferson Falcons, able to get a big win over the Falcons last year. Follow that by Ashtabula County's oldest living rivalry in Conneaut versus Edgewood. This year they got to go to Edgewood. Into enemy territory to get the win that. Last year, game didn't go as they wanted to. The Warriors able to win that one 49-14. And then after that, it's a bunch of opponents that they are not very familiar with. Gonna host the Berkshire Badgers right there through that CVC play. 9-11, they'll be heading to Kirtland 9-18. You want to talk about the biggest game on their schedule, it's right there, folks. The Kirtland Hornets. There is Goliath and Goliath's older brother. Kirtland is the older brother. They are bigger than Goliath. It is a way of life out there in football. If you can get a win against Kirtland, you are really setting yourself up for a long run in the playoffs, because that's the best football you're going to see all year. Followed by another road trip to Crestwood, hosting Fairview, Rootstown. They'll be heading all the way down Route 11 to play them. A home game against Chagrin Falls, and then ending the year with a home game against the Wycliffe Blue Devils, which is a team that has really, really improved over the last couple years. That is definitely not a gimme. Now, you talk about key games in the Conneaut Spartans schedule this year. Cuyahoga Heights got to start it off on the right terms. You got to get that win right there from the beginning, followed by a big game against your oldest rival in the Edgewood Warriors. Not only is it your oldest rival, you got to go to their house against a very, very talented and motivated Edgewood Warriors team, followed by on 9-18, you've got the big one in the Kirtland Hornets. This is a game that some teams would look at as, we can't win this game. Let's go in there and try not to get hurt. I can tell you right now, I don't think that that's the attitude in Conneaut. Those guys, those young men, I've got a chance to talk to them at the Combine. I've been at their scrimmages. These kids are ready to play football, and they don't care who you put in front of them. That's a game that if they can go out there and get that big dub that week, look out, world. The Conneaut Spartans are storming the gate. So that's going to be the first two previews. We're going to go over to a brief break, and when we come back, we'll start it up with the Edgewood Warriors, the Conneaut Spartans oldest rival. We'll start it up with them, but we'll be right back, and we'll go to a break.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
All right, everybody, welcome back. As we come back from that break, had to get a little bit of diet soda in me. It's been a long time since I've had to talk this much, but getting through these team previews here. We talked about St. John. We talked about Conneaut. The next team preview coming up is going to be the Edgewood Warriors. Now, this is an Edgewood Warriors team that is so talented and coming off of a playoff year themselves last year with a final record of 6-5, bringing in some real senior leadership this year. They're going to start off their year with a game against the St. John Heralds, and I think this is a game that, some people would say, oh, Edgewood's just going to look past them because they've got a big matchup on the road against Harvey in week 2, and I do not believe that to be the case. Knowing Elijah Juan Cooper, their head coach, for as long as I have, I know this is a game that he is laser focused on. These guys don't want to lose on their home field to start the year. This is the same team that got a win against all odds last year against the Garrettsville Garfield G-Men. A team that nobody in the state except me was picking to win. The Edgewood Warriors go down to Garrettsville. They get the job done, setting themselves up in the power rankings, in the points, to make sure that they had a Week 11 game. But they're going to start it off with the St. John Heralds. Moving on, they'll head on the road to play the Harvey Red Raiders. This is a Red Raiders team that, if what I am hearing is true, has gotten a lot more talented very, very quickly. And a game that Edgewood is going to have to go out there. Sorry, I was just checking the comments. Edgewood has to go out there, and they're going to have to play their best version of football if they're going to go to Harvey and come home with a win. They'll follow that battle with another battle against the Conneaut Spartans. We talked about how absolutely jam-packed with talent the Conneaut Spartans are this year. One of the best wide receiving corps, if not the best, in the county. They will have the addition in the fact that they're going to be playing this game at home, and they got the win last year. But this is not a game that you should be overlooking. Anybody. Conneaut and Edgewood, it's always a slobber knocker. These are two teams. I joke with people and I say the biggest football games you're going to play are the ones where you have to share a Walmart. And that's what these two teams do. Walmart is the separator between them. But they'll follow that with another home game against Geneva. Geneva, who has become an annual powerhouse right here in Ashtabula County. Outside of PV, nobody has played more playoff football than the Geneva Eagles. It's one of those teams that they do what they do best, and they're going to continue to do it each and every year. There are no surprises, and Edgewood is preparing for that. From Geneva, they go to the big one, the big rivalry game, and that is the battle for the bridge. And they have to go to Lakeside and try and get another win back-to-back. They went out, they played last year at home. Edgewood got the win and never looked back. 50-6, a huge victory out there. Edgewood is a team that, don't forget, they graduated a lot of guys as well. A lot of guys up front. They're going to be looking for some younger guys to step into that role of excellence that they set up last year. After Lakeside, they're going to be playing at home versus the West Geauga Wolverines, followed by a trip out to Hawken on the road, a home game against a vastly improved program in the Orange Lions. The Orange Lions, another YSN team, and then they'll follow that against the powerhouse that is known as the Perry Pirates right here, another YSN team. They got to go to Perry for this one. And then they'll end the year at home for the Hoadley Cup against the Jefferson Falcons. So a big-time schedule. This is a schedule that Edgewood is going to have to prove themselves week in and week out. And this is a group of young men that I think have the drive and definitely the ability to prove themselves to be a true contender each and every week. When you talk about the 4-4-0-4 to watch, we start off with the man taking the snaps. It's J.J. Dufour. You cannot ask for more when it comes to athlete, arm strength, and leadership, his strongest quality. J.J. Dufour is a leader of men, and he is going to have to do just that as he's got a bunch of young men who are going to be put into big moments. But they've got a guy who's going to be taking the snaps and controlling the game on the offensive side of the ball that, you know, if this was a war, that's my general, J.J. Dufour. This young man does everything well and make sure that everybody else is playing to their full potential. That's his greatest attribute. Next to him is going to be Josiah Pope, arguably the best athlete in the area. Nobody is faster, nobody jumps higher. Josiah Pope is a big play waiting to happen at any given time. After Josiah Pope, we talk about Paul Seiler. Paul Seiler is a man amongst boys. When he is going at full go, there is nobody that can stop Paul Seiler. Offensively, defensively, he is strong, he is fast, and he is a playmaker in all the best ways. He's going to make the tackles, he's going to blow open the holes, and, you know, sometimes they're going to give him the ball as well. I've seen him line up at tight end. The young man can catch. So it'll be interesting to see, will Paul Seiler live up to this greatness that he truly possesses? And then after him, it's Willie Guyton, a senior burner that they've got on this team. He's a big playmaker. This is a guy that I got to know a little bit better over the offseason, through the scrimmages, through the 7-on-7s. This is a guy who, you know, as an underclassman was, you know, a guy who could help you, but not the guy that they went to make the play. What a difference a year will make. Willie Guyton is a guy that when they need a big play, they're going to be looking to this young man right now. And he's going to step up to the role, and I can't wait to see how this offense is going to run with guys like Guyton and Pope and Dufour leading the way. You talk about key games for this Edgewood Warriors team. You know, 9-11, they're going to host the Geneva Eagles. The Geneva Eagles have been the standard of football here in Ashtabula County for a decade. So if you know, as Elijah Juan Cooper and the rest of that staff has been building up this program and trying to turn it into a program that people, you know, double circle on their schedule, they've got to get over the hump that is Geneva. And Geneva is not trying to give up that spot anytime soon. So the Edgewood Warriors, you know, you look at the result from last year, you know, they couldn't get things going, and the Geneva Eagles made them play their game. Is this the year where Edgewood can go out there and make Geneva play their game and get the dub? We'll find out on Friday, 9/11. After that, it's the battle for the bridge. Throw the records out the door. These young men are split up by one street in some cases. They grew up and went to the same elementary school. They've known each other as long as they've known football, and no better place to show and flex your muscles than in the Battle of the Bridge. And then on October 16th, we talk about the Perry Pirates. The Perry Pirates, as I talked about Kirtland earlier, who is not Goliath, but Goliath's older, bigger brother. The Perry Pirates are in that same conversation. Excellence in football. They were throwing the ball before it was cool. They were winning games before you realized who they are. Across the state of Ohio, Perry is always thought to be down in the Canton area. But when you get to Northeast Ohio, that's the real Perry, the Pirates of Lake County. And the Edgewood Warriors have to go to their house and get a win if they want to put themselves among the best of the best. And that's not something that they take lightly. This is a coaching staff that's ready to go. They're ready to face off against everybody and anybody you put in front of them. I'll be interested. Those are my key games for the year. These are my 4-4-0, 4 players to watch. And from Edgewood, we move along to, as I said before, the Standard. And the standard out here is that Geneva Eagles football team. They run the ball, and they run the ball well. People talk about, passing game, and, eventually they're going to run into a wall. They haven't yet. When it comes to football in this area, Geneva wins, and they win at their own pace. They control the clock, they control the yardage, and most of all, they control the front. That's why if you look at the 4-4-0-4 to watch, this is the first team you're going to see with not just one, but 2 offensive linemen leading the way. Senior offensive linemen. They run the wing tee, and they run it to perfection out there. And the wing tee is the success is going to happen because your offensive linemen are prepared each and every single week, ready to make the if and then always in their favor. Jacob Clemens, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, he's a senior, going to make a huge difference. Braden Stark, offensive lineman, he's a senior, going to make a big difference. One thing that goes hand in hand with success in football, everybody's got great skill players. Show me your line, and I'll show you your future. With the Geneva Eagles, they took that very seriously. Coach Don Shimsky is coming out this year, and he's ready to rock. I got a chance to talk with him through emails and other ways, and these are the guys that he believes are going to make the biggest difference right and now. This is a team that lost a lot, and when I say lost a lot, they probably lost more than any other team in the county. And, in Bryce Pete and Caden Proy, through graduating, you're losing 3,000 yards of offense right there, 50 touchdowns there. And a lot of people are looking at Geneva this year and saying, this is it. This is the year where we can finally get in there and sneak one past them. They have to reload, or, they have to rebuild. Geneva doesn't rebuild, they reload. They've got guys that have been running this offense since they were in the youth league. They don't have to worry about learning the playbook in high school. They just worry about becoming better football players. And that's why Geneva, year in, year out, produces excellent football players and guys like Brody Ham and Owen Davis in that wing tee offense. Good luck trying to get your hands on them. And let me tell you, there's not very often that an arm tackle is going to bring an Eagle down. If you don't come into these games going against the Geneva Eagles ready to click-clack and get some pads and get ready for a violent football game, then you're going to come out on the loser's end. And Geneva banks on that. These kids are tough. They're strong. And one of the things that's overlooked for them is they've got some speed as well. They control the clock. They control the way the game is going to be played, and that's why Geneva is always ready to go. When you talk about the CVC shakeup, the CVC conference shakeup this year. Everybody got moved around last year. Admittedly, I loved the CVC Lake. It kept all of our county teams going against each other, fighting for one goal. This year, with the addition of teams like East Lake North, Willoughby South, Fairport Harbor and Chardon, they had to do a shakeup. So some of the teams got moved around. Geneva is one of those teams. So you look at their schedule this year, there's a couple teams they did not play, starting with week 1 in Shaker Heights. They have to go to Shaker Heights. This is a team in Shaker Heights that is big, they are fast, they are athletic, and another team that is a perennial powerhouse ready to play in the playoffs. What better way to start off your year and show that the Eagles are still flying high than to take on Shaker Heights? They'll follow that with Lakeside, the other big school in this county. And that's a team that they have been able to beat pretty consistently throughout this last decade. Lakeside's coming off of a big loss there. Geneva is not looking at this game as a game that they're automatically going to win. They understand that they took some losses last year, big losses including out of the backfield. They're ready to go. They understand that what Bryce Pete and Caden Proy did last year, we need somebody else to do it. Who's going to take on the reins? Who is going to lead the pack? And that's going to be a big one. They have to play at Lakeside. Followed by that, you talk about the invasion. They're going to be going against the Invaders of Normandy. And this is a game that Geneva went out last year and was able to handle from beginning to end. This is a Division II football team. They're going to have tons of guys out there ready to play football. But let me tell you, if I've got faith in any game at all this year, this is my one. This is the one that Geneva, I can tell you without a doubt. I know I'm giving away a secret here from the Thursday show. When that week comes, I'm taking Geneva. I'm taking them by a lot because I believe in this program. 9-11, this is a game I just think is going to be one for the ages. I think Edgewood and Geneva facing off this year could be the biggest and best game of the year. They're going to be playing at Edgewood, getting their best shot. Geneva giving their best shot. It doesn't get better than that, folks. They'll follow that with a home game against the Jefferson Falcons. We're going to talk about the Falcons and the state of Falcon football here in just a little bit. And then it's Perry. And you know how I talked about how, dominant and good Perry truly is and how everybody sometimes fears the Pirate. Geneva don't. They went there last year. They do just come up short in an overtime loss, 35-28, in one of the big shakeups that Perry had to deal with last year. Well, you know what? Geneva came real close this year. This year they may be looking to jump over that hump. They'll follow that with South, which is a team that they're not very familiar with. Did not play them last year, but they're going to have to get familiar with because with Geneva being one of the bigger teams in the CVC, South is a big team. You're going to have to play them year in, year out. West Geauga, Geneva got a little bit of a scare in that game, but coming out with the win 28-18. They'll follow that with a game against Hawken, who is a team that passes the ball and passes the ball well. And I think those are the games that people are looking when Geneva plays. And they're like, this is the one. This is the one that they're going to struggle with. They're going to have trouble against the pass. Well, let me tell you, even though they run the ball well, they cover the pass fairly well as well. And then they'll end the year with a home game against Orange, and we talked about how much Orange has improved over the last couple of years. It'll be interesting to see how that's going to translate. But look for this, Geneva Eagles, who ends the year last year with a 9-3 record, to build on that. Can they match that success? Can they surpass that success this year? My bet is yes. These guys are ready to go. These kids have been running that Eagles offense since they were barely able to walk. From Geneva, we move on to another team. Another team with high expectations this year. High to the sky expectations, and that is the Grand Valley Mustangs. The Grand Valley Mustangs end the year last year with a 5-5 record. Expectations were high. That's not how things turned out. They won some games, they lost some games, but who they found out is who they truly are. The identity of Grand Valley football has been established. They're going to come out there, they're going to bring athletes, they're going to bring it each and every single week. You talk about a town that is all about football. Orwell on Friday night packs that joint. They absolutely bring everybody and anybody from Orwell into that place. They've got players that are ready to go. Coach Rosati is coming into his second year as the head coach. He's got his program established, and they've got 7 home games this year. The stable is full in Grand Valley. Orwell is chalked and ready to go back to the days of old. Back when the Mustangs were not only playoff bound, but playoff contenders and ready to make a run at Canton each and every year. This is a team that is ready to go. You talk about their schedule. They'll start off the year with Brooklyn. That's a game that they were able to win pretty handily last year, and a way to show what they can really do. They'll follow that with a game versus Southeast. They'll be doing that at home as well. Follow that with a game against Fairport, a game that they struggled last year. And every game, every team that beat them last year better have their best week of practice this year, because Grand Valley, the Mustangs, are ready to run. And every loss they took last year, they're taking personal, and they're bringing it into this year. And they'll have Fairport at home. Follow that with another home game against University School. Another home game the week following against Warren JFK. And one thing Warren JFK does well, the only thing that they do better than baseball is football in that school. So you want to talk about a game that is going to establish the Grand Valley Mustangs and get them their statewide recognition that they deserve. It's Warren JFK right there, 9-19. Follow that with a away game against the St. John Heralds. And ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you there is another game on their schedule that they want back more badly than that St. John game. And the Heralds know that as well. This is a game that the Heralds win by 3 points last year. It has never sat right with Grand Valley, and the Heralds know they have to bring their best because Grand Valley is coming out, and they're coming out running. The stable will be wide open that day. We're going to talk about their 4-4-0, 4 to watch here in just a minute. But what I can tell you about the Grand Valley Mustangs is, just as I said, the Conneaut Spartans have, in my opinion, the best wide receiving core in the county. I don't know that anybody has a better running back room than the Grand Valley Mustangs this year. Not just in the county. This is a running back room that I think is one of the best in Northeast Ohio, and there's an argument for the state. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Following St. John, they're going to be home against Leetonia, a new NAC rival that is beginning there. They'll head on the road against both Cardinal and Matthews, and end the year for the Battle of the Valley 4-4-0 edition, heading against Pymatuning Valley. This is a game that you don't need to build up at all, because these two schools have gotten over the last couple years, they flat out don't like each other. And when they go out there and they play on the field, it shows. It's always a great game. Last year, the PV Lakers hit the ground running and never looked back. You know, Grand Valley is looking at it like we just don't feel like we could get things going. I don't know that that's going to be the case this year. I think that game in particular is going to be one of the most competitive of the year. That PV Grand Valley game could be one for the record books. You talk about the key games this year, as I said, University. It's a big school with big football and a lot of guys. Grand Valley can really establish themselves as a big-time contender with a win there. And a win against Warren JFK, let me tell you, folks, if they can get a big W against the big bad JFK Eagles, another YSN brother of theirs, congratulations, Grand Valley. You have made it to the show. People are talking about you. And then we talked about that battle for the Valley, you know, to put the cherry on top, to blow out the candle, to kiss the baby goodnight on this season. You talk about the 4-4-0, 4 to watch. This year, 1 and 2, Luke Giddings and Caden Rowland are two of the very best running backs in Ashtabula County and they're sharing the backfield. Carter Turk, the quarterback, who is going to be distributing the ball for them this year. He's going to have a lot of weapons. I don't know that they're necessarily going to have to pass the ball a lot, but when they do, they're going to have Carter Turk to lead the way. And Carter Turk, if you haven't followed him in basketball, is a heck of an athlete. And Jeremiah Coral is going to come out there this year, and he has to be an absolute man on the line. This is a line that's going to need leadership. They're going to have to do their job, and they're going to have to do their job well. And in the hands of Jeremiah Coral, I think they're in great hands, because this is a kid who does all of it off the field. He does all of it on the field. He's got the strength. He's got the size. If he can get the rest of the line to play up to his level of football, you're already going to have trouble, stopping the two horsemen in the backfield in Luke Giddings and Caden Rowland. Luke Giddings is one of the strongest kids in all of Ohio, going out there this year, breaking the combine record on the bench press. And you've got Caden Rowland, who joins this Grand Valley team after, rushing for 1,200 yards last year for champion, scoring 17 touchdowns. There's a lot of upside for Grand Valley Mustangs football this year. The question is that they're asking themselves, and everybody wants to know, can they live up to the hype? I tend to believe that they can. We're going to find out, and all of their games are going to be right here on your home for high school sports, ysnlive.com. From Grand Valley, we move on to the Jefferson Falcons. Now, the Jefferson Falcons absolutely taking last year as a rebuild year. Having a tough record of 2-8. They had some games. They started off hot with big wins, going 2-0, but kind of struggled throughout the rest of their season. Injuries did not help them at all. Injuries really kind of hampered them and where they wanted to be. But, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse that the new head coach, Caleb Davis, is taking. He said, this is how we are going to play football. We're going to come out. We're going to be ready each and every week. He's bringing a youthful look to football to Jefferson this year, bringing in a new coaching staff and, coming from a program in Champion that's pretty darn good at football themselves. This guy knows a lot about football. He's a young guy. He's a guy that, and this is the most important part of any coach, the guys believe in. They believe in Coach Caleb Davis. They'll start off the year with Chagrin Falls at home. That game will be right here on ysnlive.com. Then they head on the road to play the Conneaut Spartans in their brand new field. Now, they're going to look to christen that new turf there in Conneaut. And Conneaut has all kinds. They're ready to go. They want to get this big win to start off the year. The Falcons are looking to put a rein on that parade. The Falcons have one of the best football stadiums in all of Ohio. It is one of the most beautiful turfs you'll ever see. So they're not going to be looking at glitz and glamour there. The Falcons are going to Conneaut to do a job. And Coach Davis is going to be leading his men to try and, delay the opening of that field. They'll follow that game up with an old NE8 rival in the Lakeview Bulldogs. And then they've got the toughest game on their schedule at home against the Perry Pirates. This is one that can change the attitude of everybody when it comes to Falcon football. If you can, at home, beat an annual powerhouse of Perry, welcome to the show, Jefferson. Everybody has been wrong. You guys didn't rebuild. You reloaded, and you're ready to get back to that regional qualifying type of football that it took. Something to keep in mind for all of you Falcons fans watching, for all of you Falcons football players watching. Nobody believed in you the year you made the Final Four either. So it's not something that you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to the rest of the world. You got to go out there and play Falcon football, because that's how that Cinderella year started, with a year just like this. After that, they got to head to Geneva, another tough place to play, hosting Madison. Madison is one of the better teams in this area as well. They're big, they're strong, and they're going back to that blue streak style of football where they play you inside of a phone booth and just flat out bully you. just get ready for a battle that week, followed by another a road trip to West Geauga, and then a home game against Hawken, one of the better passing teams you're going to see all year. The rebuilding, the new face of Orange football as you head down that way. And then it's the Hoadley Cup. We talk about Edgewood and Conneaut being the oldest county rival. The Hoadley Cup is not very far behind that. That is one of those trophies that has been hotly contested for years, going back and forth, back and forth. So the Jefferson Falcons have a chance to change the aura, to change the vibe in Jefferson football this year. Who's going to be doing the changing? Well, we'll talk about those guys right now. Your 4404 to watch, Mason Khalil, the junior quarterback, who is so incredibly talented. Got hampered by some injuries last year, and that kind of slowed him down just a little bit. But when it comes to pure quarterback play, arm strength, ability to stretch out the play, Mason Khalil is one of those kids who can make a change in the game. He works so hard. He is one of their multi-sport athletes that every time he's on the field, the court, or anywhere else he's at, he's going to make a difference. Brody Dietrich, the big man up front, the offensive lineman and linebacker. He is strong, he is big, and let me tell you, this kid knows football. Sean McClassic, he is the Swiss Army knife for this Falcons team. Sean is a can you do it? Yes is always the answer type of guy. He's a wide receiver, a linebacker. He can play in the backfield for them. He's going to make the tackle. He's going to be able to catch the ball. He'll lead block. He'll do everything you want. And also, this is a kid who lives and dies in the offseason, getting better and getting ready for football. And then you have Josiah Tillman, the running back, coming up through the ranks, who they're looking for that explosive play out of the backfield. When he's not coming out of the backfield, they're looking for him on the linebacking side to stop you from continuing. This is a team with a lot of talent, and Coach Davis is very optimistic about his Falcons team this year, and I love to hear it. I think this is a team that is going to surprise a lot of people and how well they're playing and how focused they are, and we're going to see. Does all that hard work, is it going to come back, and are they going to be able to get the job done this year for the Falcons? Can they get back to that old Falcon way of football? From Jefferson, we move right along. We're going to be going to Pymatuning Valley. Now, Pymatuning Valley, we talk about the Geneva Eagles and how they are the standard of football. Nobody has played more playoff football than Geneva except for Pymatuning Valley. These guys go out there each and every year. They run their version of football. If you can stop it, you're going to win the game. But you know what? Coach Croston believes you're not going to be able to stop it. Not consistently, at least. They've got guys who are going to live and die in the trenches. Oh, and by the way, they've got this big quarterback named Justin Britton last year who goes out there for a team that traditionally runs the ball and ended up being second or third in passing yards in the county because this kid can flat out sling it. He's a big guy with a big arm who sees the field well, and if they can unlock their weapons, PV has a new face, a new type of football that just unlocks because guess what? The run game didn't go anywhere. They've still got offensive linemen that are going to push you 2 and 3 yards downfield and open up holes for running backs like Schlecht, like Kason Bailey, and give them lanes to make plays. You've got guys who are deep threats, can get downfield, make the catches, like Patty Ferry. You know, the Lakers football is another one of those. It's a way of life. You put on the maroon and gold, just understand you're going to have to work for every yard, and every rep is going to matter. Because if you're not taking your job seriously, somebody else is right behind you waiting to take your spot. That is the formula, in my opinion, for good football. PV comes in this year. They're going to start it off against Mineral Ridge, and let me tell you, this ain't the Mineral Ridge of old, folks. They got a guy out there by the name of Andy Hake who is coaching that team and who is leading those young men. And when you talk about a guy who can get people to believe in them, Ridge is coming into this year with 60, 70 guys on that team. You're going to get everybody's best shot. And I love that they're starting off the year with this because there is only one team that is going to meet that expectation, and that is the PV Lakers. They went out last year and saw a different type of Ridge than they were expecting. They know what they're going up against this year. PV is ready. Coach Croston is getting his guys ready. He said, hey, remember what it feels like to start off 0-1? Not many of you knew what it felt like. We learned last year. We didn't like the taste of it. We're coming out this year. We're going to get ready to play PV Laker football. 7-4 is the record that they ended up with. Even with the loss to start the year, they go out there and are able to put together a big-time season and get into the playoffs again. After Ridge, they're going to be hosting LeBray, followed by a away game. They'll be playing against Valley Christian. They'll be hosting Matthews, another NAC opponent, the following week. On the road against St. John, this is a game that I'm really interested in because this is a game that has been so heavily, favored toward Pymatuning Valley over the last couple years that St. John has gotten a little bit better, getting a little bit closer. But, PV is a team that is so ready to play each and every week that I don't know that that's changing anytime soon. They don't take anything for granted. Every win is a win earned in Pymatuning Valley. Andover is a different group of kids, man. Then they'll be at home against Latonia. This is a big one. On October 2nd as they head on the road to Mogador. Mogador is one of those thoroughbred football programs. Since I've played, back in the days when I played in the early 2000s, Mogador has always been there. Inside and out, that's what they do. PV goes out and, they got to get ready for an absolute dogfight. And I believe that this Lakers team is going to do just that. Another long road trip. This one will be a fun one for me as the PV Lakers heading down to East Palestine to play the hometown of our leader, DJ Yoakley, who is a Bulldog by graduation, heading down into Columbiana County to play the Bulldogs. And this is that Palestine program is a playoff football team. And didn't graduate a bunch of guys. They've got a quarterback who is an electric athlete, and one of the things that PV loves is to embrace the challenge. So I'm curious to see how this one is going to go. After that, they come home. They'll play against the Cardinal Huskies, and they'll end the year with arguably their biggest game of the year in the Grand Valley Mustangs. The Battle of the Valley has never had more going for it than this year. You have two teams that just flat out do not like each other. The T-shirts start flying and the colors separate, and you're here and we're here, and it's great rivalry type high school football. This is a game that I promise you're not going to want to miss. And they've got two guys who are going to be calling all of their games this year, in George Dubik and Chad Paul, and they are Andover through and through. Lakers by heart, by blood, and by everything that matters. It's going to be a fun year for the Lakers this year. Can't wait to watch them go out there and get the job done. And we'll end our preview show with my alma mater, the Lakeside Dragons. So the Lakeside Dragons went out there last year. It's no secret that they struggled. 1-9 was their final record. They come out this year looking to change the identity of Lakeside and get back to the Lakeside Dragons of old. The Lakeside Dragons that I know. The Lakeside Dragons that ruled the roost around here. The mythical beast that people feared when they saw them on their schedule. The same school that people complained that they were too big to play around here. They're looking to get back to that dominance. Coach Terry Henton is coming into this year after a couple years, as the head coach, and he is looking to get that done just as well. They start off the year on the road playing Lutheran East. They're going to be playing at Brush High School in Lyndhurst. I'll be on the call for this one because I believe this is the year of the reemergence of the Lakeside, the capital L Lakeside, the Dragons that people feared when they saw them on their schedule. The Dragons that nobody wanted on senior night, that nobody wanted on homecoming night, because you wanted to make sure you were going to have a good night, and that couldn't happen when you were going against the biggest and the baddest that Ashtabula had to offer. Lakeside is revamped. They're ready to go. Lutheran East Week 1, Geneva, Battle of the Bigs. in week 2. Rhodes in week 3. They'll head on the road to South. And if you want to see how these games went, just look a couple years back into the Pac days. Back in the days where Kareem Hunt was playing for South and Jamero Spikes was playing for Lakeside, and these guys went yard for yard, touchdown for touchdown. That's where the Lakeside Dragons are trying to get back to this year. And then it's the Battle of the Bridge, the biggest rivalry game in the county. These guys don't like each other. Some of them have had jerseys from both schools, and now they're drawing a line down the middle to decide who has the best program. Not only do the kids know each other, the coaches know each other. We've grown up in the same town. We grew up with the same people, playing the same games, and again, I jokingly say with the same Walmart. Follow that with a revamped and a new tooled Harvey. They'll head on the road to play East Lake North, and this is a rivalry game for reasons that you all know, the same way I do. I don't have to tell you why this game matters so much on the schedule. North came down last year, and they ran the ball. They ran the ball well, and they didn't change it up. Lakeside is looking to figure out how to stop that and play their game. And again, it's very much like when you play Geneva. Are you playing their game or are they playing your game? Lakeside has to establish that identity. Their defense struggled mightily last year. Their defense had to improve, and they did improve. They're ready to play the game this year. Lutheran West is a game that they're going to be at home against. That's a game I really feel confidently in the Lakeside Dragons for. And then they end the year with 2 big-time heavy hitters. The Chardon Hilltoppers. You have to knock the Hilltopper off the top of the hill if you're going to be the man you need to be. But Chardon isn't giving that up easily. They are like the originator of that wing tee offense. People from around the country watch Chardon football play to learn how to run the wing tee to its best type of football. You have to go out there and put all that aside and show that the Lakeside Dragons are that dominant force that you truly could be. You end the year after that, after one battle, you have to go against the Blue Streaks, who are getting back to where they should be. Last year's game, I know what that score says, 53-21, and it looks like Madison went out there and flat out zapped the Dragons. It was the tale of two halves if I've ever seen one. J.J. Murphy played masterfully against the Madison Blue Streaks last year. He went out there and completed every pass any way he wanted to from start to finish. The game got away from them at the end. Lakeside has to finish football games, and that's what they're learning to do, and I think they've learned to do it. This is a defense that looks different. It's a different feel in Lakeside this year. I'm excited to see how that's going to translate into football this year. You talk about the 4-4-0-4 to watch for Lakeside. It's the big guy in the backfield. It's J.J. Murphy. It's the #1 passing quarterback in the county last year. It is the statistically the best quarterback to ever play for Lakeside in J.J. Murphy. He went out there as a sophomore last year, first year, who was supposed to get the baby treatment. They were supposed to walk him into football because they were going to rely on Devin Miller to run the shop. And due to an unfortunate injury, had to step up, and you talk about baptism by fire. I mean, this J.J. Murphy, for you Game of Thrones fans, he is like Daenerys Targaryen. He came through the flames untouched and unbothered. He threw the ball well, and he threw the ball consistently. You put that into an off season. He came in this year. He worked harder. He got bigger. He got better. This is a kid you need to keep your eyes on, J.J. Murphy. Jorge Diaz, the junior wide receiver defensive back. Tough as nails. Hands like sticky tack. One of the few kids who takes more pride in his ability to stop you from catching the ball than he does in catching the ball himself. He knows his role and he plays it well. Maceo Bowles, the linebacker, the running back. This is a kid who comes in as a sophomore. He's another one that had to learn on the fly. Had to learn on the fly last year. They asked a lot of him. He wasn't supposed to have to take the carries. When Devin Miller went down last year, somebody had to step up. Maceo Bowles, because he is strong, he is talented, and he has no fear, stepped into that role and took hits and got ready for this year, a guy who not only could take the hits, he's shifty, and he's learning the offense in and out, and people are looking for him, looking at him to be the leader out of the backfield. Because let me tell you, there is no more dangerous version of Lakeside than a Lakeside that can run the ball effectively, because their passing game is elite level. If they can run the ball, you got to pick your poison. And then leading the way up front for the Lakeside Dragons this year, it's Aaron Artman. Aaron Artman is the picture of what you want in an offensive lineman. He is a leader. He is strong. He knows the offense. He takes his leadership role very seriously. I watched all year this year as he is picking up the younger linemen and holding them to a higher standard. The standard is the standard, and that's how you get better. Aaron Artman is the guy who is going to make or break your offensive and your defensive line, and I think the Lakeside Dragons are in great shape this year. It's going to be a fun year. You know, I get very, very hyped up for football. I get very, very hyped up for football. This is a year that I believe that Ashtabula can truly make its name on the map. Every week you'll hear me make my picks. I'm just not doing it this week. We'll have our player of the week on here to decide who is the greatest Ashtabula County athlete for that week based on their performance. It's going to be a fun year. I can't wait to be back here. I'm back in my home away from home here in the Crow's Nest. I want to take another moment to thank Dan Sposito of Sposito Insurance for sponsoring the show this year. I want to thank the Detour family as a whole for hosting me again this year in this one of my favorite places in the entire world to eat, to have fellowship, and to just enjoy some time. The Crow's Nest is truly a gem here in Ashtabula. If you're watching this show and you're not from here, please come check us out. It's a great spot. The lake, you can throw a rock and hit it from here. It's going to be a great year. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you so much for all of your support. And as always and forever, ladies and gentlemen, this is for the 440.
This for the 440. This for the 440. For the city and the back roads, got a whole county full of them goats. All from the 440 and let's go. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them. Yeah, and kinda got flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we #1 in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. Switch for the 440.